Yo, what's up, boys? It's that time. Wrath of Lich King Arena guides are here. In this video, we're going to be going over Shadow Priest Rogue versus Destro Warlock with Succubus and Elemental Shaman. All right. So Wrath of Lich King is a little bit different than TBC, and there are multiple openers and multiple different ways, which is super exciting to beat comps. So make sure to subscribe to the channel because I'll be uploading more videos against the same comp, just with different strats, because you need to know all the different variants just in case, depending on who you're going up against, and also some factors that end up happening when the game starts. So if you're new here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna run a clip through so you can watch it in real time. And then afterwards, we're gonna rewind and deep dive. We'll stop, pause, and just really go into the nitty gritty so you can get a solid understanding of what's happening and what you should do and look out for, all right? Make sure to like and subscribe again, boys, and let's jump into it. All right, guys, here we are. Dalaran Sewers. Let's run the clip. Just sat. Priest comes in. Kick. Gouge. Dance. Line. Jutsu juke. Kick. Fear. And it's on my boy. Okay. And there it is, guys. So let's rewind. First off, this matchup is a bitch. It's really challenging. The Succubus pet is incredibly powerful, and you need to be very particular with how you use and when you use your trinket, and also be super aware when your priest is on seduce. You have to be there. You have to be ready to kick it, because if you ignore it and you try to power through, you're end up going to be not dealing enough damage, and they're going to end up beating you. So there's a lot of things to micromanage up against this setup. And so ideally what you want to do, and what we have to do on War Main right now, which is currently the server that I'm playing on, you have to sap Shaman due to the fact that the Warlock right now has a little bit of a pet bug where they can just go in and get in combat immediately. But ideally, I do like killing Shaman here. You can also kill Warlock. That is a different strat, and we'll talk about that in another video. But with this one, we're focusing on the Shaman. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to sap on the Shaman. Here I go. Now, once I get the sap on the Shaman, Priest is going to push in. Now, what this is going to cause is the Warlock is then going to send the Succubus to seduce my Priest. And as you can see, this Warlock did it a little bit too early, but it kind of ended up working out really well. I want to just pause it here because this is a really cool moment. Subtlety rogues are the master of CC. In this comp particular, Shadow Priest is going to be the one doing a bunch of damage. They're going to be doing the raw output. So you want to try and set up for your Priest to let them get the VTs and the damage rolling on the Shaman or any target really. So here, it's kind of beautifully set up where there is a triangle. So it's really easy to kind of digest and understand the strat perfectly. So what I'm going to do here is I do end up cheap shotting. Whether or not this one in the moment was the right play, I probably could have resapped here, but I didn't want to risk it just because the pet's super in combat and the totems are definitely finicky. I don't know if they can do something where they get the pet or they get the Warlock in combat. So I needed to cover in this time because I need to get the setup to go. So here I cheap shot. You want to save your step. Do not step to the Shaman. You can use sprint or you can just waddle in. The Warlock and Shaman, they will not beeline to you. They're going to beeline to the pillar. So don't think right out the gate when you see it like, oh, you need to react and use sprint. They're not the comp to beeline to you. Again, the Succubus is waddling and the Shaman wants to get to a pillar. So you don't have to really use sprint, but if you so choose to like I do, just to really get the things going, save your step though. That's the number one thing, save the step. Because you want to use it to kick the Succubus and then use that speed boost to jump to the Warlock to get a gouge. Now, if the Warlock is able to gouge, go for it. Because again, in Wrath of Lich King, you're going to be subbed for improved gouge. So you're going to get the 5 seconds. It's only 3 seconds left than a sap, you know? So there's huge value there. And depending on how well the setup goes, you can sometimes even get the trinket from the Warlock, which will be huge because then that changes the dynamic on how you're going to use blind. But again, guys, you want to sprint to the Shaman, save the step, for the Warlock, Warlock's pet. And then if you can, go for the gouge cover. So then that lets the priest come in, can't get seduced. Warlock can't do anything. He can get the VTs on the shaman, and you're looking good. So here I go. Step, kick. I'm going to jump over. I'm going to gouge here. Little meme because my my teammate ended up silencing and dotting. But still, it's about the principle, guys. It's about the principle to help setting him up. So here, I jump on it. Here's a DR cheap shot. Now, if you look at the bottom, I still have Vanish. Some rogues feel that, and myself included, I can't prep until I use the Vanish. It's okay. Either use the Vanish now, press prep, but in this moment, I want to make sure that I maximize because the cheap shot is off. There is no time to use the Vanish. I ended up just using prep, and then I'm going to use then I'll have one Vanish for the rest of the match. It's okay sometimes to use prep without using the Vanish to get the step, because you want to keep the tempo, because it's not about me getting on him. It's about me kidneying shot the shaman as fast as possible in the line of sight for my priest. So here I step to get back on him because I want to maximize that. My priest is coming in. I ended up vanishing the end of the hex because I wanted to use my Vanish as a way to allow me to keep tempo. I'm not using Vanish as a defensive. I'm not using my cloak as a defensive. My abilities are all offensively used. It's like you're going up against rogue mage, where you're pretty much going up against the mage nonstop, blowing everything, using every Vanish for a Nova to protect yourself from shatters, everything. So if I see a hex, Vanish. If I'm in a root, Vanish. You want to be using that to maximize the uptime. Kind of spicy that I ended up getting the Hex and the Shadow Fury, but now the Fear comes out. My priest used the Fear earlier on the Shadow Priest, so there's not going to be a kick here. I'm going to go ahead and insta trinket, and the reason why I do insta trinket here is because my priest is in the line of the shaman, and I don't want any downtime. I don't want the global. I want to get the kidney shot, because if I can get the kidney shot on the shaman right here, look where the Warlock is. Warlock is behind me. I can get to him, wrap around the corner, and get mad uptime. So I'm going to insta trinket, give my priest breathing room, and then be able to go in super quick, hit the cloak so the lock can't stop me. Boom, there's a sprint. I actually ended up just saying screw it and using the eviscerate. I forgot to mention this. Elemental shamans, they end up taking less damage and stuns. It's 20% less damage. So a big thing too is you can do a stun, but you also can just pump raw damage in, eviscerates and ambushes, just to maximize the tempo while having the priest having the dots on the shaman. It ends up becoming unhealable. So here I'm really pumping, Warlock kind of running around. I'm really just maximizing this space, trying to get this lock just to get a Fear. I'm having him do a ring around the rosy. That's pretty much what you want to do, especially on this map. And I do want to say this is probably our best map, because it is so tight. And if you do have sprint up, you are able to be agile around the boxes, really cucking the lock. So here I go. I'm in a root, and the dots have fallen off. And I was supposed to mention this earlier, but I ended up recording this whole video while I was full screen. So I kind of made myself, so I'm doing this the second time around. Blind is used in a different way against this matchup, because you're not ever really going to use blind as like a CC chain. You're going to be using blind as an interrupt, whether that's an interrupt on Fear, whether that's an interrupt on a heal, to keep that uptime. Because if I blind the shaman on a heal, right, now he has all that loss. Now he has to cast it again with me having kick up and having that pressure. Or he wants to fake my kick and he thinks he can now free cast, and then I go for a blind, and then I go for a gouge, and now he is super locked out. And again, it's the Shadow Priest's damage that really matters here. So it's all about aggressiveness and locking him down, and using blind in this matchup to really just be an interrupt. Again, on Fears or heals, not so much a CC chain, because we're not really going to be setting anything crazy up on a Warlock, and you're not really going to get the sap on the Warlock in the beginning. So the only real chance you're going to get a trinket from Warlock is if you get a juicy gouge on the strong setup go, where he feels like there's so much pressure that he has to get out of it ASAP. So here, I'm going to blind right on the end of the Fear. Lets my priest go down. Warlock drops. I suck in to stop him from casting the Fear on me. He has to now sidestep out. I step the shaman, and I go for damage here. Instead of the kick, I went for it, and I get the Fear inevitably from the Warlock. But as you can see, Warlock, the Shadow Priest damage, it's right there. It's really good. And guys, that's the win, man. This matchup is insanely fun to play, but also very, very challenging. There's a lot of intricate things that you need to be aware of and set up. So that's it for this video. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any questions and what comps you guys would like to see next. And as always, boys, much love. Check me out on Twitch. I stream there daily. We're doing Wrath content here now. And until next time, peace.